Welcome to the Encrypted in Grey podcast. If you're drawn to the messy, murky and mysterious corners of life, Encrypted in Grey is your next must-listen. This podcast fearlessly dives into the grey areas where truth blurs, beliefs clash, and clarity is often elusive. From moral dilemmas and fringe science to taboo topics and personal paradoxes, each episode unpacks the complexities we often shy away from. With thought-provoking discussions, real stories, and a dash of wit, Encrypted in Grey invites you to explore what lies between black and white, and maybe even change how you see the world.
Hi, this is Matt. Today is our second episode of Encrypted in Grey. Anna, Sierra, and I are joined by Anna's cousins, Dolly and Tony Jr., and they discuss unusual things that would happen at their grandma's house. Enjoy.
Tell you guys something very creepy and eerie that happened to me as a kid at Villa Capri, these apartments I lived with my mom and dad. And it's a quick story. It's about not messing with things that you don't know about. So my mom had a candle, and it was of Saint Barbara, and she had it lit for protection of the home. And she told me, because I was curious. I was a very curious kid, and I would look at her candles and I would touch her stuff and I would pretend I knew what the heck I was doing. And I thought, maybe I can take my mom's candle and, do a love spell or something, because I had a crush on a boy. And my mom already knew ahead of time to tell me this. And she said, "Hey, don't mess with my candles. Don't take anything off the counter. Don't touch my stuff." I said, "Okay, I won't." Well, she went to bed, and the first thing I did was take the candle off the counter, and I put it in my room, and I started pretending to know what I was doing, and I was praying to this candle, asking it to please make this boy like me. And I was in middle school, and I cut a piece of my hair and I threw the hair by the candle and, did a little prayer. What was that? Nothing happened. Little after midnight, I wake up with a really bad bloody. I go to the bathroom, I clean myself up, bloody nose. I go back to my room, and I had this cross on my wall that was my grandma's that she had from Bingham. And it was this white cross with the silver Jesus on it. It had this blue ribbon. And I did the Our Father, and I got up to turn off my light, and I heard a woman's voice call out my name, Anna, not Donchi. They called me Anna. And I heard a crinkling sound, and I started to scream my head off. And I didn't want to turn around because I did not want to see who was calling my name. I just didn't. And my mom and dad ran into the room. I jumped on my bed, and the wick of the candle got really big and small, really big, and actually caught this lamp I had on fire, and the fire went out immediately. My dad was asking me what happened, because he thought that I got electrocuted for some reason. The way I was screaming, he thought I was getting electrocuted. And when my mom saw that the candle was in her room, knew right off the bat that I was with things that I didn't know about. She then told me that particular candle was used in Santeria and in voodoo, and that particular saint calls for bloody nose. So that was my first weird experience there with my mom at Villa Capri. But Dolly and Tony Jr. can tell you about some that happened at Grandma's house.
Well, everybody, Grandma lives by a cemetery, but we would all go over there and just hang out. But there was one night, it was me, you, my friend Hilaire, and her little boy. We were all sitting at the table, and we were playing cards. And for some reason, I think it was your phone that was on the couch, but we were trying to find it.
Yep.
And then the next thing, it flipped over and it went flying off the couch. And we just kind of looked at each other like, oh well. And we we were just trying to figure out what just happened. We thought somebody was messing around, but there was nobody in the living room because we were all in the other room around the table.
Yep. And that was around the time my grandpa was, he was alive still, but he was actively passing in the back room. So we had a lot of weird stuff during that time.
Yeah, or those flat, I guess you call them suckers or whatever. When it flipped a few times, it kept flipping.
Oh yeah, the plate. Do you remember the plate?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it would always happen because we were playing cards. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yep. Grandma's house had a lot of activity.
My weird shit was we're usually down Grandma's house, and it was in the basement one time. I was taking pictures of my old room that was down there when we lived there before, and I kept seeing blue things in my camera, like blue balls, blue orbs, whatever, floating around. Cyrus come down, and we were still doing the pictures, doing the film, and he started acting. I think he came down too as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Cyrus came down and he started just went into kind of like a weird trance, like floating, like weaving back and forth, doing some weird shit. But that's basically all I remember as far as that goes. My other thing was down in my old room at my mom's house when something under the covers grabbed me and I jumped out of my bed screaming and couldn't see anything. But it was kind of creepy down there too as well.
How old was that time?
Cyrus was about 5.
Yeah, he was around. Yeah, he was actually really young, not even in high school or junior high.
Yeah.
Did everyone have like that creepy feeling at the bottom of that downstairs staircase?
Yeah,
It's
right
like
before
everyone
you
had to
go past
run
the
up.
boiler.
Yeah.
It was always in the washroom or
that creepy kitchen.
That kitchen.
I never went in there.
Dog, my mom had a really creepy experience in there. She was in there washing out a cup, and she said someone went right next to her and like blew in her ear, like just, and she felt the wind and everything, like just in her ear. She said she threw the cup down and she just ran up the stairs, hopped in the bed with Grandma, and Grandma started laughing. Like just Grandma was always just laughing things off.
Yeah, to play it off, like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that kitchen was weird. It was like a witch kitchen with all these weird shit that Grandma used to make hanging up from the ceiling.
Yeah. Didn't Grandpa Chilo, didn't he like dig out that basement himself? Like, didn't he
I
make
don't
that
know if he
basement?
did that himself. I think they did dig it out. So,
Because like if you
not
think
by
about
himself.
oh, okay. Because isn't it level to the cemetery? So if people are buried 6 feet under, isn't that basement almost like buried flush with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in that kitchen, when you walked in, I think it was on the left side, there was a hole.
Yeah.
When it rained and everything moved.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that's-
Yeah.
Like I said, I never would go in there because it was scary, and it just, I don't know, it smelled.
Yeah, Grandma's basement, it was dug out. And as soon as you go down those stairs, those old creepy stairs, as soon as you walked right into the basement, all that is the old stuff that they never modernized. It was the kitchen and where the boiler was. And then later on, I believe they did the bedrooms, but they did them more modern. They had walls and a ceiling, but they were still creepy. But the where the boiler was and the kitchen and the ugly bathroom, it was never finished. It kind of looked like the way it did when they first did that, when they first dug it out.
Yeah, I remember you could actually access the dirt. You could actually see the dirt from like that little, that window in that kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, it's on the left side. It was opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always said, like, I think that kitchen was a portal. I'm not even kidding. So many people.
Tonchi, up above, remember Grandpa's room and all those things we've seen on the wall?
Yes. Yep. And when Grandpa was passing, he even said when he was dying that, now that I think about it, right, that kitchen was literally right underneath Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the bed.
Say that he would come through the closet.
It was the closet and the wall with the window and by the garage.
Yep.
That
Oof.
marking that was left.
That was weird. That was weird.
Because he would always stare at that wall and the marking.
And I don't know what that, or how that even got, like, that was weird.
So, what's the story with Grandma Nina saying that she was aware of the lady downstairs? Because I remember Sammy always complained that there was a lady downstairs or something. But Grandma Nina seemed very familiar with that particular, like, lady or whoever it was. Did she ever talk about it, like, when you guys were growing up too, or?
Wasn't it?
I don't
Wasn't it
recall.
Grandma's
She always was
mom?
telling us stories.
Wasn't that Grandma's mom?
Yeah, I
Not-
think she did mention it. It was Grandma's mom or something, because she was aware of. She was very aware that there was a spirit there, and she didn't seem scared of it. And I think there was a couple times where she referred to it as her mom or something.
Yeah, Grandma, she was aware because there was weird things always at Grandma's. And she knew that, like, Abuela Ia, which is our great grandma, was around a lot. She was more around as a protector, like a guardian. But sometimes weird stuff would come through, because there's a story where, well, I witnessed too, that door from the back side of the house that would go straight downstairs, and then Grandma would have that door that would go into bed. You know, that had that old-fashioned doorknob.
Uh-huh.
That thing you would literally be watching TV and would see it like move, and the door kind of try to open and on the other side.
We always had that bar across.
Yeah. And then Grandpa got pushed in the kitchen. Grandpa got pushed right across the and he fell into the fridge.
Yeah,
That
but
happened.
even in the kitchen, when we used to clean it, we shut all the cabinet doors, and we'd be in the living room and walk back in, and some of the cabinet doors were open.
Yep. And that, I can tell you right now, that they had the kitchen checked to see if the floors were not leveled. And the house was really old, but it wasn't unleveled to where the cabinets would open up like that.
Yeah, but they were old. The hinges were old, so they weren't the kind that have any type of spring or anything
Right.
that would shut it and then open it back up.
Ugh. Dude, one time at Grandma's, this I had a lot of weird shit too. I was sleeping with Grandma in that back room, and Grandpa would get up in the middle of the night, and he would, like, you could hear his feet shuffle in the kitchen, and he would go and get into the glazed donuts and stuff he wasn't supposed to. And then he would walk into that doorway, and he would look in at me, Grandma, and check on us. Then he would turn around and go back into his room. One night, I thought it was Grandpa because I could hear somebody in the kitchen walking around in the kitchen. But then I got that really creepy, sick feeling, like a weird, where you feel like the hair is standing up on your body. And I felt someone like right over my face, like that, like right in my face. And I was so scared. I didn't want to open my eyes. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to wake Grandma up. So I just kept the blanket over my head. And then I finally got the courage to kind of open my eyes to see if it was Grandpa. And there was not a damn person there. There was nobody. Ugh. Well, Mia, you were downstairs.
Yeah, I was downstairs. I had the only thing that really stuck out to me when I was there is I would feel fine in the rooms, like the 2 rooms that were downstairs, I'd feel fine. And then once I would get past the bathroom, I would feel like something was right behind me to where I would have to run up the stairs. And there was times I actually fell over myself running up the stairs and then have like a full-blown panic attack. And I would like bang on Grandma's door to unlock it and let me in to the upstairs. And I don't know what it was. It was just something just felt like I don't know, horrifying. But I remember Grandma's like, ¿Qué pasó? What's going on? What's happening? And I'm like, I don't know. There's something, I felt like something was behind me. But I know that happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think we all felt like that. Like it was always eerie, but we were always like safe. We didn't worry about ourselves. It was the other people that would come and visit or hang out with us. They're the ones that got really scared, and we would just look at each other like,
And
whatever.
A lot of times our imaginations would run away with us, especially at night when we stayed over at Grandma's house because of the stories that she used to tell us about the campos when she was growing up and shit.
Yeah. Yep.
So a lot of creepy things came from them, from those stories.
You know what else actually was the footsteps I would hear, but this would be upstairs, not when I was downstairs. There was a time when I would sleep like on the living room couch and everyone was asleep and it was just grandma in her room, and Grandma Lula and Grandpa in the other room, but everyone was like asleep. And there is times where I would hear footsteps coming from the kitchen, almost sounded like it was coming closer to me. And then I was expecting, Grandma Nina to just, be up and walking around at nighttime. And she wasn't. And then there was a time I actually got up, went into Grandma's room, looked over, and she was sound asleep. Everyone was sound asleep, but I was hearing those footsteps. So I don't know. And I think Matt had that experience.
Yeah, we heard the thing too, because I don't remember if you were staying there with your grandma, but you weren't sleeping down in the basement bedroom for some reason. I don't remember if you were creeped out or if it was because of spiders, but you had a mattress in the living room.
Yep.
And then I would be over there and we'd just be like in the living room at night watching TV. The lights would be all off and just the light of the TV, but then we would hear like somebody walking through the kitchen, but your grandma was in bed, and like I would get up and go look and there's nobody in the kitchen, but you could hear, it was not uncommon to hear like somebody walking through the kitchen. You could hear the laminate flooring kind of.
And my grandma would always get up, especially we full on adults. We're all adults, and my grandma would still get up in the middle of the night, come, hey, turn off the TV. It's time to go to bed. So we figured it was her, but it wasn't her. It was just somebody walking around the kitchen.
They used to do it in the back room where Grandpa was. The door was shut all the time.
Yeah.
Because we would sleep in the living room when I was staying with you guys. We would stay there and we'd hear the door shut. And then we'd go like, well, who's shutting the door? Your mom and dad was downstairs. And Grandpa was on that bed, so
And he was passed out.
he was sleeping. Grandma was sleeping, and we'd always open the door,
Yep.
or the light in the closet would turn on and off.
Well,
You know what else was weird? It was her bathroom sometimes too. Like I remember taking a shower and there was like a little picture of these two little children in her shower. I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember that? Oh my gosh, it's just that bathroom was something else too. I just felt like watched or something. But that picture with the two little children, like teeny small, just killed me. Dude.
They're holding like little red balloons too. That was a great picture.
Take it.
Yeah, it was creepy.
The kids.
It was just like a sticker she had in the. It was like an old fashioned sticker with little two Victorian, and
I
she
think
just
one of the... go ahead.
Photo?
like a little painting of a picture in the back. That's funny.
Back in the old days, it was a lot more scary, mostly with that back room that Grandpa used to sleep in. The house was rearranged a little bit different. The hallway going to that bathroom and that back bedroom was on an angle. And then it did a hard angle. Then it went into Grandpa's room, and the bathroom was way smaller and creepier until they remodeled it. But a lot of weird shit happened on that one corner where Grandpa's room and the bathroom was located.
Yeah. Yep. You know that when they were trying to sell Grandma's house, they had contractors in redoing the basement, trying to fix the place up. Even the contractors, they finished the work because they got creeped out and they did not want to go back into Grandma's house. And like two other people went to buy the house and they said they felt creepy and they backed out. And the weird thing is the person that ended up buying Grandma's house was that lady that rented the little studio apartment.
Yeah, the back apartment.
Yeah, and that was the lady that Grandma and Grandpa liked, Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ended up buying the house and she's still there. But it was almost like the house didn't want anybody. You know what I mean? It's almost like the house
Only wanted certain people.
It
They only
shows
wanted
the
certain
person.
people in there. Maybe
Yeah.
because Grandma had good ties with her. That's who went with it.
Yeah.
And from then, they were from Puerto Rico as well, right?
No, she was from Guatemala.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dang.
A little girl in the
Huh?
Isaac, my brother. And that was because his friends went and were playing with the Ouija board in the cemetery. They thought it would be funny to play with the Ouija board or whatever. And that night, Isaac was downstairs. And I remember this because I was sleeping with Grandma. I remember Isaac running up the stairs and he was like white as a ghost. And he was like sweating, started crying. And Grandma was like, what happened? And Isaac was like, couldn't even talk. And Grandma was like, what did you see? And Isaac told him, well, there was a little girl standing in my doorway and she had like a little white dress on, a big, like black, long. He thought it was me at first. Thought it would be screwing around and moving the clothes that he had on the stair. And he said when he looked at it closer, he realized it wasn't me and realized it was a ghost and freaked out. And then confessed to Grandma that he was playing the board with his friends, and he got in a lot for that.
Didn't Grandma like hit him?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
And that's why we were always told, don't ever play with that and don't ever bring that kind of crap into the house, because you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're going to, open up. So,
speaking of that, we found a Ouija board in Villa Capri, and that's when your mom lived there. And we threw it in the dumpster, and it was back at that apartment. But it was the lady, she lived downstairs on the other side of the entrance by the laundromat. And I can't remember her name, but it was your mom's friend.
Yeah, no, I don't mess with those things at all. Nope. No, thank you.
Mm-mm. Surprisingly, me and JoJo did bring a Ouija board to Grandma's house. And luckily, we actually didn't have any experience. I'm pretty grateful for that.
Didn't Grandma find out about that?
Grandma Lula. Grandma Nina had passed away, and JoJo and I literally walked around the cemetery. We bought a Ouija board, and Grandma Lula just shook her head. She goes, I want no part of that. If you guys get scared, that's on you. And we were messing around, but luckily we didn't. But I don't know. So luckily we didn't have anything with the Ouija board.
Yeah, Mia did.
Yeah, but someone in the family did find the Ouija board that we had, and they threw it out. They burnt it or something.
What happened to you, Dolly?
Each time, because there was twice in the house in West Jordan.
Well,
so the first one was, back in the days, remember the big screen TVs that you rolled around? Not these new ones, but the big ones.
Boxy ones.
Yeah.
So I got one of those, and it was in the living room downstairs. And that's back in the days when we all had water beds. So my water bed was just facing the wall, and the door was on the right side. But everybody was downstairs in the living room watching TV and yelling and stuff. And we did have a cat. And I went to the room and said, I'm going to bed because I think it was school or something. I don't remember if it was school or work, but I was just laying there. And of course, like I said, we had water beds. So, you're kind of rocking. And I had a big console TV in my room. And I was watching TV for a little bit. I turned it off and I decided, okay, I'm going to bed. Well, I usually sleep with the covers over my face. And I started getting a little drowsy, and I felt something run across my chest. And I thought, this damn cat. So I got up and I looked around. There's nothing in there, no cat. I shut the door and I went back to bed. And I was just laying there. My eyes were open, but my face, under the covers. And I felt it again run across my face. And I yelled at my mom, and they came in, and I said, would you get the cat? And they're like, the cat's in the living room with us. And then I was like, okay. So they shut the door for me, and I was laying there again. And something on my chest ran, and it was there. And I grabbed something, and it was like I was fighting with it, and I threw it. And everybody come running in, and they seen me fighting with something. I don't know, but there was nothing there.
Ugh.
So grandma came and we had the carpet that you could pull up, but she drew something on the bottom and she did all this stuff. And it never happened again down in that room. But I moved upstairs and kind of the same thing happened to me, but it grabbed my ankle, like one of my ankles, and it was pulling me off my bed.
So that's the room that I was in before you were in it, and I had that weird thing happen to me too in the bed, and I woke up screaming for mom and dad.
I was upstairs and it happened to me, and it was pulling me off the bed, and I slept in my closet, or I stayed in my closet all night, and I had to go to school, and I was so scared. And then I went downstairs, and it happened to me down there again.
Ugh.
So grandma made this little thing in the pouch, and I had to have it with me like forever until I lost it. And I think I did. But yeah, that was pretty scary. Because when I was upstairs, I was coming from your mom's house. We were watching movies.
Yeah, our family has had some weird stuff, man. Weird stuff.
And that's happened to you too, in that same room, TJ?
Oh yeah, that was my room first.
The downstairs.
I was the first one to move down to the basement.
So you were experiencing stuff like that first, and then you were like, "No, I'm getting out of that room." Right? Or
yeah, because did you move out?
I think I moved out like about a few years later on. Because that was like in high school, and during the high school time.
So I moved down there, but I had something in my hand, and I was fighting with it. And my mom opened the door, and they see me fighting, and I threw it, and it hit. It hit, and we heard it, but there was nothing there.
Damn.
What did it feel? Fuzzy or?
Well, it was like in my covers.
Oh.
You know, like when you grab like when you grab a cat and under the covers, and you know how it's squirming around.
It runs away.
It was like that, but I heard it hit, and there was nothing there.
So is that not like a mouse or anything like that?
No, because a mouse you could barely. But I felt it, it was like, I don't know, you could feel it.
Yeah.
The first time it was on my chest, it ran across. And then the second time it went on ran across my face. And then the last time it was back on my chest. And that's when I grabbed it because I grabbed, my arms went up and with the blankets and I grabbed something and I was fighting with it.
That's awful. That is pretty scary, especially if that's like a physical freaking, like to feel something. That's awful.
I didn't want to sleep in there anymore. So grandma came the next day and she did all this stuff and she gave me one of the saints. It was a bit like a statue. And it stayed in the room forever.
Dang.
But it never happened again.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Grandma telling the story when her and I think it was my Cooley, when they were walking back home from the a bingo, and she said that something was chasing them, and Grandma heard like a behind her, and she tripped and fell, and she felt something grab onto her, and she started praying, and she made it back to the house, and like her dress was torn and her shoe straps were torn. Do you remember that? And she said when she looked back, there was nothing there.
I don't remember that story. She must have told it to you guys when you guys were living with her and stuff. I don't remember that.
Yep. She said she had these strappy shoes and the straps and everything was broken. Her dress was broken. She had a scratch. But she's like, there was nothing there, but she heard something behind her. She heard like a growl. And like where the old Midvale was before, it was all just like grass, like field, and she was crossing the field to get back to her house.
Yeah, I remember her telling me that story too.
Yeah, it was always Grandma that was saying all this stuff. Grandpa really never said much.
And Grandpa got pushed in the kitchen. That,
Yeah, you remember, don't you? You remember when, like, the time Shalair was there and we were all sitting playing poker, and something flipped, and she just looked at us, and we started laughing. We said, don't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah, that was the phone. Was it the phone? It was the phone. But,
but it did some somersaults and landed on the floor.
Yeah.
But then
I'm wondering. I wonder all the time if anybody that if they have any experiences there. But maybe that's something for the next episode. We'll go.
Yeah, we'll have to talk
We'll
to
have
the
to find
owners
out
now.
and ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is she still there, the lady?
she is. She
Um,
is.
When you come, we should all go and see if she let us.
That to document that, to like have like a documentary, like if she does experience a bunch of stuff, like that would be crazy.
That would be good, and plus it would be nice to see what we remembered from the past and how they changed the house and what it looks like now, and we could point out those scary rooms, because I'm pretty sure they remodeled that as soon as you walk down the basement where the boiler was and the old ugly kitchen. So they've remodeled that, right?
They did everything.
Okay, because I want to see what it looks like.
Hey Mia, I have all the old pictures of Grandma's house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for any pictures and send it to her.
I have
Yeah.
everything from the downstairs to the upstairs.
Oh,
I took pictures of everything.
we need a picture of that kitchen downstairs, of that hole that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll have to look because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the only one I was too scared to go in there.
I don't blame you.
I might have taken a picture from the in the hallway, but I'll go through them. But I know I took a lot of pictures.
You know what the weird thing was is, like, you know how Grandma always cooked Puerto Rican food the way they did in Puerto Rico? And
Yeah.
her and Comay Julie, they always used to go down and make morcilla. That was the creepiest thing because they were hanging down there. When I went in the kitchen in the dark and saw those things, I always thought they were like guts, people's guts hanging on the ceiling, from the ceiling and stuff. So it was always weird because she always had weird food hanging out there, drying out and shit.
Yeah, old beef jerky drying out.
In the kitchen, because your mom always used to say, "Hey, Dolly, go get me a drink. Go get me a soda." And I'm like,
Yeah, oh my gosh, would do Fear Factor when we were kids, like me, Anthony, Alex, and Sam. I did a Fear Factory and freaking locked me and Alex in the kitchen basement with the lights off and locked us in there. And me and him were like hiding underneath the table right up against the freezer. Oh man, that was like that was freaking trauma right there. But
the bedroom that was by the kitchen downstairs, that closet,
Yeah, that big hole.
I was locked
Oh.
in there.
you really? Oh my god. The one where my grandma used to sleep in?
Yeah, the spider room.
The spider room, yeah.
That's what I hated that room. I hated.
I think everybody had a certain room, but mine was the kitchen downstairs.
Yeah, that one was the worst. That one
It's just-
definitely.
Yeah, it would always smell so damp down there and everything.
Well, we're gonna wrap up this session. Thank you guys.
Yep, you're welcome.
Right.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time. I'll try to remember some other weird shit that happened. But
Yeah,
good.
sounds good.
All right.
If today's exploration left you stirred, unsettled, or simply thinking deeper, that's the point. Keep challenging, keep questioning, and meet me back in the grey where the conversation never ends.